Hi everybody, my name is Andrea Fox and today I'm gonna go ahead and be presenting my applied assignment, which I decided to do an interview. So we'll go ahead and begin with the pre-work. So for this interview, I decided to interview a family friend who is a parent of a 4-year-old dual language learner. Her name is Marlene and they both speak Spanish and English. So some of the things that I knew from this course was having a bilingual student or a child requires support from both the home and the school in order for them to excel in both languages simultaneously. I tied it to our course material from lesson 6, 5, and 3 that ties into books being used to support vocabulary, family engagement, and how environments in the classroom can help support their learning. My goal was to see how support for a dual language learner looks like at home and what support they get at the school level. And my questions mostly revolved around how does teaching their home language look like, how do parent and teacher interactions look like, and if they use bilingual books at the home. So we'll go ahead and go into the evidence. So how I mentioned, on the top right is gonna be our interaction via email. So I asked Marlene if the time was available and she said yes. We also had a 20-minute phone call interview that consisted of about 7 questions. So throughout the questions, we mostly started off talking about what language the child uses. So how I mentioned, she uses mostly Spanish at home and English at the school. She did mention some challenges she faces just revolving vocabulary, and sometimes at school, if she doesn't know the English translation, it is a little difficult for her to share her emotions or feelings at the time. I asked some questions about the teacher interactions. So the child's teacher does speak Spanish, so it does help. Otherwise, they don't really use Spanish in the classroom or in her curriculum overall. At the home, they do have bilingual books, which they said they have integrated into their bedtime routine. The child is super excited to read those at night, and she has gained more confidence in reading and just her culture, and she has shared that with her peers, say the next day, which has shown her gain in confidence as well. I asked a question around communication with the teacher, and they talked about during pickup and maybe parent-teacher conferences or events, the teacher may bring it up, but it's never the main focus. They don't really feel like the teacher emphasizes their home language as much as they would like. In their daily routine, they have integrated Spanish through reading and just conversational Spanish. And if they know that the child doesn't know the English translation, they try to provide that as well, just to have that connection between both languages. And lastly, I asked them if they gained any strength, if they've seen their daughter gain any strengths being bilingual. So how I mentioned, she seems more expressive, more understanding, and she's also built up a larger vocabulary since she is able to know vocabulary in both languages. So overall, I thought it was a very good interview, and she shared her perspective of being at a school that isn't dual immersion, but just how she sees it in her own lens. So new learning is that the child uses both languages, and she's now being able to code switch between environments and is able to tie English to school and Spanish to home. I also learned that they can use more support from the teacher with their home language and integrating in the classroom. So how I said, it's not currently at the time, so I learned that, and maybe adding more visuals or books would be helpful. And I also learned that bilingual books strengthen their home language, new vocabulary, and their confidence in their culture. So finally, just sharing some new questions in my continued inquiry. So I really learned the importance of school to home integration for dual language learners. So how I said, for this parent in particular, she isn't at a dual immersion school, so she would like to see more support from the teacher and the school on just supporting her home languages. So since how we know from this course, you do have to be able to support both of them equally in order for them to excel. So the parent would like to see that. And then just some questions that I have for everyone in the class is just, how can teachers support even when they don't speak the same language? Can communication between teachers and educators improve to support? And how can schools add bilingual visuals to help support dual language learners? So that's just a little bit about my continued inquiry and new questions. And that seems to wrap everything up. So thank you so much for listening.